everyone. I'm here with Sharon Verbeten, our Children and Libraries Journal editor, and we're going to talk to you a little bit today about our journal, which is a member benefit. So Sharon, if you could start us off with maybe how long you've been editing our journal.
Thank you, Ellie. Hi, everyone. So this is my 18th year, believe it or not, editing the ALSC journal. And we are a quarterly publication, which means we come out 4 times a year. And the nice thing about Children in Libraries, I think, is that it's a great mix of both scholarly, research-driven articles to showcase the scholarship of our members, as well as best practices pieces. We often do interviews with authors and illustrators in the children's book world, essays and commentary on topical information. So for example, recently we've been covering libraries in the time of COVID. So a really nice balance of articles in each issue. So I think you'll find something that will interest you, whether you're a student, a practitioner, or a professor.
Nice.
So I understand, Ellie, there may be some questions from ALSC members about the journal.
Yeah. Well, one, I'm sharing my screen here, and this is basically the Children and Libraries journal landing page, and it has a bunch of information for our members to browse through if they had any questions. But I think maybe to start us off, Sharon, if you can share how would someone go about submitting an article for CAL?
Sure. So I'm glad you mentioned that webpage because there is great information on there, for example, on author guidelines, which tells you the type of style guide we use, which is the Chicago Manual of Style. But don't get too caught up in those type of things immediately. To submit, basically, it can just start with an email to me, which you can find my email and contact information on that page. So you can send me an email either with an idea that you might have, or you may have a completed article already that you want to send me and ask if it's something that might fit in one of our issues. I get emails with both. So somebody might say, hey, we're doing this great program at my library. I'd love to share information. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I also do get emails of, I just completed this research paper on this particular topic. I'd like to get it published. I'm very interested in children in libraries. So start with an email to me. I'll respond promptly on whether it's something that we would have room for, something that would need to go through the referee process, or something that we could fit in our next issue.
Okay, and you mentioned the referee process. What does that mean?
So CAL is a referee journal, which means that for our more scholarly articles, which are research-driven pieces, which tend to be the longer articles, if a librarian has conducted a survey, a study, worked with some statistics to prove a point, those type of articles do go through a blind referee process. And by blind, that means the article comes to me. I strip it of your contact information, any identifying information, and then we'll send it to 2 or 3 appropriate readers, whether that be somebody who is an ALSC member, maybe a professor in a particular topic, somebody with intimate knowledge about the particular subject of the manuscript. I try to get 2 to 3 opinions on the manuscript before deciding if we're going to run it in Children in Libraries. The good news is that we do have over a 90% acceptance rate. In the past 18 years I've been here, many of the articles that come in, either they get accepted immediately upon review, or if the reviewers do feel there is some work that needs to be done on the manuscript, I send them back to the author. They make some changes and resubmit. So it's really worth your time to submit, whether it be a scholarly piece or a shorter article. The shorter pieces, best practices and the like, do not go through such a rigorous referee process. I decide upon those on the editorial desk.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds great. It sounds like there's a lot of support that's offered for anyone willing to write. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if someone isn't comfortable with, writing a whole piece themselves, how would you recommend they go about navigating that?
So that's an excellent question, because we do get, when I go to conferences and I meet librarians and they tell me a great program or article they have, and I'm like, that'd be awesome, could you write that up for Cal? And they're like, oh, I can't write, or I'm a writer, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, you know what, put the information that you're planning your program down on paper, send it to me, and as editor, I mean, that's my role, is to work with the practitioner on getting the article in shape for publication. So do not fear if you're not a writer. I will provide help every step of the way. You are the best resource because you know your program. You know the pros, the cons, the expense, the feedback, what went right, what went wrong. And I will kind of lead you with those questions. You answer them and we'll put it together as a team to get it ready for publication.
Yeah, we always say our members are the experts in the field.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, they're out there doing the work, coming up with the great, whether they're getting a grant or coming up with a great program they're developing. And I'm here in Wisconsin. I'm not in wherever our members are. So you might be in a very small rural community in Idaho, or a large metropolitan area like Boston. Very different areas, but we want to share with all our readers what you are doing from all parts of the nation.
Yeah, and could you share just a little bit about how the journal itself is structured, and what, if you had any topics that you would recommend to write about?
So as I said, we do 4 issues a year. Each issue is 40 pages. And I like to give a mix, again, of best practices, essays, and scholarly pieces. So we do try to gather a mix. Every now and then there might be a theme issue. For example, a couple of years ago, we celebrated the 75th anniversary of the Caldecott.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always do theme issues though, so your topics are welcome at any time to fit in a particular issue. Things I'm looking for are great programs you might have had at your library. Did you host a children's author? Get some great photos, do an interview with somebody fascinating. Is there a topic that you or your colleagues are an expert in, whether it be intellectual freedom or early literacy, programming, really unusual or avant-garde children's programming you're working on, something you're doing awesome in the pandemic to try and reach out to your audiences. We want to hear about it because chances are somebody around the nation might be able to replicate what you're doing either on a larger or smaller scale. So we're all about sharing at ALSC, and it's not like, ooh, I did this program and I didn't tell anybody about it. We're all very good at sharing what we do to present the very best programming for children out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time today, Sharon. Talk to us a little bit more about CAL and how our members can submit. For anyone watching this video will also be available on, again, this webpage here somewhere. We haven't figured it out exactly where yet, but it will live on this page. And thank you again, Sharon, for helping us out today.
Thanks for having me. I wait eagerly by my email to see all the submissions come in.
Yeah, for sure. Bye, everyone.
Bye.